When all-in-one streaming amplifiers were first introduced a few years ago, well, they received a pretty frosty reception from audiophiles and musicians alike, and rightly so. But in the years since, there's a lot of research that's happened, a lot of technical improvements, and streaming amps have become warmer with lossless features. They have a welter of capabilities now, and well, quite frankly, you just can't beat the price. Case in point is the Eversolo Play. For The Absolute Sound, I'm John Quain. The Eversolo Play is a streaming amplifier that's small in size. It's just 9 inches by 9 inches and less than 3.5 inches tall, but it boasts a welter of different features. It makes it very convenient for those who are just starting out with their first system on a budget. It's also convenient if you're trying to set up a secondary or tertiary system in the home, in a bedroom or a den. It's priced at just $699. That's list price, and it boasts some even-handed power, and as I said, a lot of convenient features. The Eversolo Play is a particularly good choice if your primary source for music is over streaming services, hence a streaming amplifier. But more than that, it connects directly to your network over Wi-Fi or an Ethernet cable if you choose. That's important here because other inexpensive receivers you may see on the market, often the way they stream music is via the Bluetooth connection on, say, a smartphone. That is going to inherently degrade the quality of the music that you hear, rather than, in this case, getting it directly over Wi-Fi, or if you get the cable, over Ethernet. That's significantly going to improve the quality of the music you hear, especially if you use a high-res service, which we always recommend, something like Qobuz, where you get the best quality possible from a streaming service. So what's so impressive about all the features that the Eversolo Play has? Well, for this price range, it delivers a lot. Starting with, it has 60 watts a side. That's into 8 ohms. 110 into 4 ohms, using a Class D amp to keep things cool. This is a common design choice in this category. It means that you can safely put the amp on a crowded shelf versus other amps that generate so much heat that you could probably heat a dorm room with them. I drove several different brands of bookshelf speakers in various price ranges to use with this amp, and they had various efficiencies or inefficiencies, as it were, and yet this amp delivered enough power for every occasion, whether that was rock and roll or bossa nova. So 60 watts, while very modest in this price range, should be enough for the kind of passive bookshelf speakers you may want to use. Also important here in amps of this type is a low noise floor, and the company rates this amplifier to be greater than 109 dB. That's weighted into 4 ohms, which is pretty respectable in this price range. The Play also uses AKM's 32-bit DACs, the 4493s. The touted benefits there are that these DACs should deliver a wider dynamic range so that you can experience the subtleties of Satie and the bombast of Beethoven in our auditioning and over weeks and weeks of testing. No reason to doubt any of these claims. To build out your system, the Play has posts for a pair of passive speakers, as I mentioned, as line inputs, let's say for a CD player if you want to add that. There's also a phono stage, so you don't need a separate external preamp for that. There's an optical input, 2 USB 3.0 ports, coax connection, Ethernet, and HDMI, an eARC connection. That's a great port if you want to hook up a TV to get the maximum sound quality out of it, especially via the audio return channel, which is the ARC part of that acronym. So that way you can say output the sound from your TV and out to a set of speakers that you've carefully chosen. This system also supports, one of the critical things about this is how much does it support in its own software. That is, you don't have to use a remote control or a smartphone to try and run some of the apps or any of those streaming services. So Eversolo Play has a number of built-in software apps for things like Tidal, Qobuz, Amazon, TuneIn, Deezer, just about anything you can name. I won't rattle them all off. And so it enables that kind of lossless playback when you need it without requiring some additional device. It also supports most of the lossless file formats, including direct stream digital, that's DSD, FLAC, WAVE. If you're going to use a USB connection and you're going to have, let's say, a NAS device on it with, or even an outboard DAC, that connection, the Play will support 32-bit PCM at 768 kilohertz. Again, lots of features packed up into a very small package. One nice feature of the Eversolo Play is that you don't need to use a smartphone amp to control it. So many pieces of equipment today, you got to download the app. You can't do it without the app. It gets to be kind of onerous. Not so with this device. Thankfully, it has a 5.5-inch LCD touchscreen, so you can do it right on the device. You can see album covers, choose tracks, change the volume, the source. Everything you want to do can be done right on that 5.5-inch screen. You could even choose to use play a pair of analog VU meters, which is kind of ironic since most of these devices are digital, but it's kind of fun to watch the VU meter go back and forth. Of course, if you want to remote control this device, you can via a free Eversolo app that goes on your smartphone, either an Apple iPhone or an Android phone as well. And it's a pretty great app. It's logically laid out. I didn't really have any complaints. It's easy to follow. It even allows you to trigger things like an external microphone. You could even use the one on your smartphone to do some measurement in the room and sort of acclimatize the device to your particular environment if you so choose. If that's not enough for you, there is also a 15-band EQ and a 10-band parametric EQ if you want to change things. It lets you do it separately, left and right channels. Also pretty handy just to tweak it if you really feel the need to as well. If you're too lazy to do that, there are a slew of presets for different kinds of music, from shoegaze bands to bebop, whatever you're listening to, there's a customization setting for you. So it has all the connections you want. You've set it all up. You've got your streaming services and logged into them all. What does the Eversolo Play sound like? Well, let's run through a few examples to give you a sense of what its sonic characteristics are. First off, let's try some rock and roll. That's really what it's all about in terms of giving a big dynamic range here. We called up Roxy Music from the Country Life album, Out of the Blue, which is all about dynamic range. That's part of the calculus here, reaching higher and higher with each refrain. Not only does this powered unit have the processing to deal with the electric violin, which is something of a passing craze, but there's also the incessant melodic bass lines, and then there's Brian Ferry's inimitable warble. If you don't get that right, definitely going to hear the difference there. The Play did very well. Also clearly articulated the piano in the background that's often lost in this kind of overdone mix from the Country Life album. It's generally lost with lesser amps. It came through very cleanly here. You could pick it out in the mix. Very nice detail. Something else from Simple Minds and albums that often forgotten, Sons and Fascination and Sister Feelings Call. Why that record? It's being remastered like so many. So there's a high-res version of it now. The Theme for Great Cities is a track off there that demands precision. It's an instrumental. You definitely get the precision out of the Eversolo Plays. There are multiple overlaid bass lines. There are multiple keyboard effects running concurrently. There are synth runs wending their way through all the instrumentation. All of this can easily get lost if the amp isn't up to the task. Fortunately, the Eversolo Play is fully capable Coming to some classical music, did I mention I have a soft spot for Telemann? So the Eno Cantata and Double Concertos is a new record that just came out this year, 2026. And what you need for this is some very quick response and some vivacious kind of voicing to handle this recording, which features the British soprano Elizabeth Watts. Very quiet noise floor too, also necessary here. So that was absolutely necessary. And again, the Eversolo play really came through here. Whether it's woodwinds or strings, there's a need for clarity here and for proper clarinet reproduction as well, and the speed that you need to handle the rapid, ragged edges that a violin can create. All that done very well with the play. Finally, to some jazz, a little offbeat jazz for you from Jamie Branch, trumpeter, or something from her 2017 Fly or Die album. She unfortunately passed away in 2022 at the age of 39, which is a darn shame once you'll hear this recording, which is demonstrative as you'll get with her sort of boisterous and brilliant trumpet playing. There are moments here that set you on edge, and there are almost moments that will take your breath away quite literally. Most decidedly, this is a recording that is mixed to make you feel really live. It's hard to come up with other examples. When you play this recording, it's called Fly or Die again, it does feel like you're sitting right in front of them at the lip of the stage or in the recording studio. Did a very good job with the streaming amp of making that sound live, giving you that presentation and clarity without, critical here, without making it sound harsh or edgy at the top end. Just to confirm some of my impressions, especially when it came to trumpet work, some people probably say, yeah, Jamie Branch, that's big and brash, so of course it'd handle that well. So let's try something that's smooth and cool. Little Chet Baker from the 1959 album, simply called Chet, has a high-res version now. Doesn't have quite the noise floor of the other recordings. However, it does have that soft, cool jazz floating around. The amp handled it extremely well, even with Pepper Adams. He's the sax player on that record, handled the dynamic range extraordinarily well. All of that confirmed that sonic impression we first heard on some of the other records. So in the end, that frosty reception that these streaming devices and amps first received when they first appeared is no longer really applicable. There's no longer that signal to noise problem. It's very clean, acceptably low, more than acceptably low, and there's no longer that anticipated attenuation at the high end. In fact, if there's one word you should take away from this review of the Eversolo play, that word would be full-throated. Also, think about the convenience features, the streaming features and the software. That kind of integration is well done here, very logically laid out, easy to follow, and the touchscreen means you don't need your smartphone all the time. So the bottom line is, for $699, the Eversolo play is well worth the investment, and the money that you save, put it into a great pair of bookshelf speakers to match. If you like this review, if you found it helpful, please hit the like button on our video channel. Consider subscribing to our video feed as well. And there's a print version of the Absolute Sound. We love print still, so consider subscribing to that as well. Thanks for watching. For the Absolute Sound, I'm John Quain.